Hi everybody, I'm Kate Fogger and with me as always is Julie Hurt, and together we are making light to humans being, which is very clever. Well done, Kate. So Julie and I are both intuitives. We are soul level animal communicators and soul level intuitive coaches. We are both intuitive people and we are also vaguely human, and we talk about the stuff that comes up for us because we're both on a journey, on a path, and we've had some really big wins. And obviously now that we've been through the coaching as well as the animals, or we're teaching stuff and all the coaching that we've done, we're evolving and we know what we should be doing and we know how we should be behaving. But BB, I'm not going to do it all again. I know how we should be behaving, and yet stuff still gets us. And this is interesting actually, because this now ties into what we want to talk about today. And mine, how I said to you earlier, Julie, was remind me to tell you about the person I started following on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm just going to do that really, really quickly. I can't even tell you what her name is, but like anyone who follows me on, thank you so much, Facebook and Instagram and everything will know that I am a shit follower. Like, I don't listen to anybody. I get completely overwhelmed, and I know that's like really precious, but it's true. So I can't even deal with chat. Like chat, I have to turn the ping off Messenger, because if I'm like the swimming group, it'll just be people chatting about what time they're meeting, and I'm like, oh, it's too much. I've realized that I am actually one of those people. So I don't really respond to anything. I had to go, and I have friends that get a little bit annoyed. But anyway, apologies to everybody. I really appreciate your interest. I'm sorry I'm shit at it. I do try. I'm just a bit shit. So for me to follow someone on Instagram, like I think the only people I follow on Instagram are actually like my chums, and even what was the point of this? She was this beautiful. I don't even know who she is, but it's a beautiful body advocate type person. Can't even think what they call it. In fact, I'll tell you. Will I tell you? But she's like so beautiful.
Is it like a positive body coach?
Yes. Well, not even a coach. I wouldn't say that. She's just a positive person. Her name is Megan Jane Krabby, and someone had sent, one of my friends, Nina, had sent it to me, and I thought it was something to listen to. I was like, oh, I'm never going to get around to it. And I clicked on it, and oh my God, she's just so beautiful, B, so open and authentic. And what she was scrolling through all her stuff, I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna have to follow her. That's how big it is. And then, sorry, now I've gone on to TikTok. How did that happen? And one of the things that she had done was in January, she posted this post as a photo of her in bed, just peeking through the covers, saying, I really wanted to come at you with love and light and everything like that, but I'm just not feeling it. And that just the responses to it were so overwhelming in that. And I guess the point is, and what she said something to do with my overthinking. And then like she spends all this time overthinking, gets herself in a hole, and then she spends the rest of the time hating herself for not being able to control her overthinking, for not being further along, for not being this, for not being that. It's exactly what you've just mentioned, isn't it? It's like we trundle along, we think we're doing really, really well, and then something happens that knocks us off our perch, and then we're like, oh my God, I should be further along than this shouldn't be happening. And suddenly it's a catastrophe, as opposed to oh, okay, that hurt a little bit. We then dive into this enormous self-analysis about why it's happened, why it shouldn't have happened, how we should know better. And that's really interesting that came up, because that's exactly what's just happened to you, Julie.
Yeah. So what's interesting is, I will tell the little scenario here in a second, but it's interesting in this context of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And the 1 step back is actually the opportunity to reflect and see what's really going on, like dive a little deeper. So this is reminding me of that too, which is the theme of Father Richard Rohr's whole meditation line. That's a different story. We can get into it. Anyway, so last time Kate and I think it was the last time Kate and I talked, after we finished the episode, we were talking about something else, I think, Kate, and you said to me, you have this need to educate, you said something like, that's your need to educate, Julie. And you said it matter-of-factly. And I know there wasn't anything negative in it. It pinged me though. It had nothing to do with Kate. This is what's so key, like to me with coaching, is that my reaction to it is my reaction to it. There's something in it when I react like that to something. There's something in it for me. It has nothing to do with what Kate said. And that's been a huge, I think, distinguisher as we've moved through the coaching track and become certified, is you develop the skill or the talent or the muscle to realize that what somebody is saying is what they're saying. Your reaction is your reaction. No one's going to make me react this way. No one's going to say something to make me react a certain way. The meat for me, the juicy bits, as our fabulous teacher Danielle McKinnon says, is like in my reaction. So she said that and it pinged me and I went, oh man, there I go again. I'm educating people. Why am I doing that? And I just get really kind of down on myself, and I caught myself and I thought, ooh, there's something there. And so when I had a little time, I thought, okay, what is it? What is this triggering in me? And you may have heard us talk about this, but there's really 4 negative beliefs that we're working with at any given time: not worthy, not lovable, not good enough, not safe, secure, and protected. For me, I'm working on not worthy. So it pings that not worthy negative belief. I'm not worthy to educate people. I need to, and what's happened my whole life is when, and I know when it started, 2 years old. And I know that when ever I get told I'm educating people or I'm being different in that regard, or I know something different than somebody else and they call it out, it makes me want to dim my light. It makes me actually want to go into a little fetal position and not share what I want to share or temper what I want to say. So when you said that the other day to me and it pinged me, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And I had this whole conversation with my guides about, see, you don't feel worthy to educate. You have, and what's so interesting too, now that I think about this, Kate, is the moment I realized and became aware that it was the negative belief that was getting pinged. I've been getting, now as I look for this whole last week since we talked, the things I've been getting served, because the guides in the universe, of course, use Google and Instagram and all the channels to reach you. And even just, I was attending a conference for this. So I have this volunteer group that I chair the board, and was at this big conference. And even there, I was getting served things that showed me that my voice, my unique voice, is needed in the conversation. Everybody's unique voice is needed in the conversation. So don't think that you need to dim your light. You don't at all. This is the time when we all need to speak and all need to say what we need to say from a place of love. I will preface that, like, you don't want to go at stuff from a place of fear, like some people in the news media. You want to be able to come at it from a place of love and state what you need to state. So now that I look at it, my guides are showing me like all these touch points that they were serving me this last week, just to say, no, your voice is needed. Here is where your voice is needed. This is what you can say, and giving me inspiration in that regard. So I just thought that was really super interesting.
What's interesting for me though, because when we talked about this, Julie sort of said, yeah, can I ask you something? You're like, oh no, what have I done? What have I said? Because I am no stranger, Julie, to putting my foot in it. I know you wouldn't believe that, but I have been, criticized, that's the right word, but one of the things I get is that I'm too blunt, and like, I know you're looking for me to rephrase that, and I was like, I can't rephrase it because, but what's interesting to me is, why is that an insult to you? Yeah. Yes, you want to educate. Why should that hurt? I know exactly why it hurts you, Julie, because basically your family have all poked fun at you for being too intellectual and being too highbrow and too this and too that and to the other. And so that's all that easy. But like you're just like that little girl again, going, but this is a good thing. Look how much I know. Look, I'm so clever. It's because I was like that as well. I mean, I got in trouble. One of the big traumas, stupidest, when you realise the really little things that made such a huge impact. When I was at school, this has come up a few times. I mean, I've forgotten it. It's just a funny joke to me, but it does come up periodically when we do the soul level coaching. I was at a Catholic school as a non-Catholic. I don't know why that's relevant, but so a lot of the teachers were nuns, and I got called in with my mom and Mother Superior. So I mean, this is no stranger to me. I was always in trouble and everything like that, but Mother Superior, she's like the top dog here. And what had happened is we'd had a maths test, and she had written 100%, which wasn't unusual for me. I'm a bit smug. I was very young, it was easy maths. 100%. And then when I was going through my paper, I realized she'd marked one of my sums as wrong. And I actually said, I didn't get 100%, I only got 96. Because actually it was 4 points, 25 questions. See how clever I am. And I wasn't being smug, I was just like, and then I went back to the paper and realized that the sum was actually correct. It had been marked incorrectly. So me being Kate, I was just really excited that I had actually got 100%. In whatever way I did, drew her attention to that. And I can see how a teacher at this point might be a bit fucked off, but this turned into this massive thing. Now, all that happened, even I can see that, even through all my insecurities, I don't need anyone to explain to me. As a little girl doing the right thing, first of all, I was honest because you said 100%, and actually I didn't, I only got 96% because you wrote that in red biro at the top of the paper. It said 99%, right? And then when I went in and got excited because it was sort of portrayed as me being too clever for my own good and trying to show up the teacher, and you're like, so I hear you, Julie. I was exactly the same. The thing is, one of the very few, sorry to be so mean, but one of the very few things my mother did instill in me was that I was clever, and I was very clever, and she never had a problem with that. She never made fun of me. She was always very proud of me for being clever, whereas you were made fun of for being too clever.
Yeah.
So is it any surprise that when I use a flippant phrase like "you'll need to educate," that stabs you right in the gut, and you go, "Here we go again. I'm just that little girl, and they're poking fun at me because I'm cleverer than them."
Yeah.
And also there's this idea that there's some sort of busybody show off in there as well, because I get that a lot. That you're some sort of, and none of us. Because I can see in your face, to some people they'd be like, yeah, whatever. But you and I, that's just, oh, ow, ah, and that's because of our unworthiness. We desperately want attention, but at the same time, we are absolutely terrified of it.
Yes. Yes.
So, you've got this awful juxtaposition, which is what we go through in the soul level coaching, of the competing negative beliefs, where on the one hand, you're desperate for attention and you do all these things to prove to everybody how good you are and how worthy you are. But any form of attention or fun poking at you, instead of going, yes, I am clever. Yes, I am a show off. And why shouldn't I be? You're immediately back to, oh my God, I got out of my box and I got slapped in the face.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Not that it means anything to me.
So what's interesting is, when I first shared the story, and then you gave me some positive feedback and some, I'll say, accolades, those were triggering my not worthy. Oh my God, no, I'm not that. No, I'm not. Like, it was so triggering. And my guides put their hands on my shoulder and even just like, nope, stay right with it. And just kind of feel that emotion of, I'm not worthy of all the nice things Kate is saying about me. Oh my gosh, I'm not worthy. And just, oh wow. And I can feel it. It's so fast. Okay, this is really interesting. My solar plexus has been coming up of late, and that's where I can feel that little hitch. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. And then even then, when you just said about my family too, and you said something else, like my guides just keep saying, just stay with it, like feel how it feels and realize that it's okay, and see if I can't frame the input without that filter and just let it sit. Just let it come in and let it be received.
This is all about receiving.
Exactly. In the manner that it was intended, or even if it was intended harshly, like, is there a way to receive it that actually it's like, oh, okay, got it. Oh, or yeah, I did what I was needed to do. I did and I don't want to judge something negative or positive, good or bad, because that's not how this exists, but more, can I receive it in a manner that helps me? That's probably a good way.
So can you receive, let's share this, because I think it's a nice example for people watching. So in the time that we've been together, this is what I was saying, and that's why I said it came from my guides, because I got goosebumps as I was saying it. And that is in the time that I've known you, Julie, because you used to be very politically aware. I mean, I know you still are, but you actually keep it that low key, if you like. Now it's like, as opposed to all these people and these bunch of assholes. And in the time I've known you, that, and I'm going to use a phrase just to trigger you and so that you can get used to it, this need to educate has gone from being, I need to show you what's right, which is very much, I mean, I can't watch people doing stupid things. I get, it's like, you're an idiot. And that's one of the biggest things that has gone away. I mean, I went too far, and we've had that discussion as well, of going too far the other way, of actually saying nothing about anything because you don't want to be confrontational on that. And that's actually not what it's about either. It's about me not getting upset that you're not doing it right. I can observe that you're not doing it right. The fact that it's upsetting me is what I deal with. It's actually irrelevant. But what's changed with you is you still have this, let's not call it a need to educate now, because I would say it's a desire to educate. It's coming from a completely different place. It's coming from, oh my God, but if you knew what I knew, you'd be able to see it, and let me take you by the hand and let me take you there. And the point that I had said to you, and I can't even remember what it was about, but I can see the scenario, because we are so alike in that. I mean, we are so different in so many ways, but this we share this. But your point now is let me take you by the hand and show you what amazing things I can show you that will make all this better. And that's the difference. It's no longer, you idiot, let me show you how it's done. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's my words that are triggering your need to educate, because admittedly they are words that would trigger me totally, because they're like, well, how dare you, because what comes to mind is some fucking busybody, know it all, again, apparently a bad thing. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is all in the language, in which case I should apologize to you, Julie, for the language, because it should have been your desire to educate. I think when I was saying it, I was making a point that it irritates people, which is all on them.
Yeah. I don't remember what the context was. Oh,
I think it was about your family. It might have been about your sister or something.
I don't remember what. Yeah, it was about. It's not. Yeah.
And I was phrasing it like that, by that's their view of you rather than my view of you. Yeah. That's your need to educate, because that's how they'd say, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Can't keep it to herself.
Yeah.
Oh, woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
You get that as well, do you?
Have you been listening into the conversations, Kate? Because that's spot on.
Look, Gary does all this fun. Then tapping a button under the. He's like, don't tell anybody that. I'll be tapping a button under the table, waiting to get you removed. Like, if I go to the vet, he's like, just don't tell them. Don't tell them you talk to animals. Oh my God, they'll carry you away in a cart.
Yeah. Interesting. Was something that you said that I wanted to comment on, and I don't remember now. Well, first of all, clearly, because we share this desire. Oh, I know what it was. Okay. First of all, language. So I'm going to come back to language, but this desire to educate, and I'm going to put it in air quotes now because I'm trying to share our experiences, share what we know. Maybe it will help somebody else. That's more the intention behind what we want to do. But that's why I feel like we started this show, because we actually were just playing just to see. We were finishing up our certification. We were being challenged to do stuff on video. And so I'm like, hey, let's try a conversation. And we decided to always do it together. So there's that. The language, I mean, that's up to you. That's absolutely up to you. I thought what was super interesting was that you said it, and you said it in such a non-emotive, non-charged way to me. And it still pinged me because it was supposed to, not because you wanted it to, but because the universe wanted me to acknowledge this.
And you are still apologizing for it. You see, I have learned, there's not many things where I've gone a bit further, but I mean, I was where you were about things like that. Now I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's who I am. That's my light. That's how I shine. If you don't like it, you can fuck right off. I mean, obviously that comes and goes with confidence, but that's the difference. I perhaps would not have used that language if I wasn't beyond it, if you know what I mean. Because now it's like, yeah, fuck me, yeah, I do need to educate people because people need educating.
Yeah. Well, we're the whole, Earth is a school. It's what I hear, and that's my philosophy as well. Earth is a school, and we as a species are ascending and part of that school. And my part of my piece of pie, which I talk about pies, my piece of pie, my contribution is to help with the ascension alongside my own, or I go through mine and I share it along the way. That's part of my piece of pie. But so I this separation of what you say and how I receive it are two very separate things, because I guess I want people to understand that as you move through things, watching what you say begins to fall away. Like you just said, even our teacher Danielle talks about she doesn't have a filter anymore, and she ends up offending people without meaning to. And so, but that's also something for her to learn and something for us to learn as that filter falls away and we end up offending people while we're telling them something.
Oh, what do you mean by offending? I mean, I understand that we may, like, and I thought that was what Danielle meant, but certainly in my case, I talk about things that I would otherwise not talk about to other people, tending on the woo-woo side or stating as fact what I believe about animals, whereas in the past I would have caveated it to hell or not mentioned it.
Yeah.
Do you mean that, or do you mean when you say offending people, what do you mean?
I was just thinking of the example that she had given, where she had seen somebody in a certain type of sneaker and she went, "Oh, those are really white, you must be," and whatever, she made a comment and that person was offended and she didn't mean anything nasty by it. But that's what I like. We will say things because the filter is off or thinner. Just like when you said what you said, and I took it a different way. You still have to be able to say what you need to say when it's from a place of love, as it was, and didn't mean anything negative by it. When I say didn't mean
But that's I think that's the point. If I don't see anything negative about what I'm saying, I would not censor it because I can't, it doesn't occur to me. But so that's interesting because I remember being gently coached, criticized, shall we say, at work in a fun way. I really offended a lot of North Americans, no offense, Julie, but here we go. By And like, no, again, it would be one of these things that people couldn't actually quite articulate to me because I'm too direct. And I'd be like, you presented facts to me, I reflect them back to you, and I'm being too direct.
Yes.
I can't think of a specific example. If someone had said something about something, we were on a course and some North Americans had come over, and I think, yeah, anyway, so I have a history of doing that, Julie, but that's because I'm like, unless you're like, if I'm not ashamed of what you've told me, because I think that's also it. People tell you things as in confidence, maybe, or privately because they trust you. But if I don't understand that you have an issue with this, why would I not? And you didn't say, this is something I feel really strongly about, I'm really embarrassed and ashamed of it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that trait. Why wouldn't I reflect that back to you? Because I don't see it as a negative. I'm trying to think of an example and I can't.
Yeah, no, I mean that example right there, because I do believe the company that you worked for was originally created in the Midwest of the United States. I'm guessing.
I don't know where Midwest is, but yeah, it's Hewlett Packard.
Oh, maybe they were more in the California.
Yeah, they might be.
Yeah, I do think that I was thinking Midwestern culture, we don't particularly care to be upfront. We call it, you're like nice behind the scenes. So like you're nice, but you really mean something else. That's a whole thing. So I can see where that would have, but that's not on you. What you said, that's on them, how they receive it. And so that's what I was trying to say is, as long as what you're saying, because I will say, some people can actually say things from a place of fear and therefore it's mean, it's nasty, and that's part of the healing as well, or the growth as well, is as you move through your negative beliefs, you realize that, for example, saying things that are mean or coming from a place of fear is a workaround for your own negative belief. But we're today just talking about receiving information and then how you receive it. And when it pains you something, and you're like, ooh, there's a negative belief behind that. And when you feel it, when you can ladder it back to what is that negative belief, and even when it started, like if you've gone through coaching and you understand when it started, you can see the tendrils in that regard. And when you see them and aware of them, that begins to release. So this need to educate, when you said that, and I realized there was something needy there, and then I was recalling the different things that had happened. And then I'm starting to get signs from the universe, like, no, say your piece of pie, say your piece of pie. Mm-hmm. It's releasing. And so now I'm becoming a little more comfortable being in an educational, when I have to share something, and realizing too, and just even at this conference, like there were a couple times when I was brand new to the conference, and even a couple times I stood up and shared my experience. I would never have done that before. Never. And I know, woohoo. And there's an older gentleman that's on our board who was there. And when I would do that, I would catch his eye, and he would be like beaming at me. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh. I know. And I'm like, oh my, okay. So yeah, I just realized that happened too. Oh, wow.
That's everyone needs their own cheerleader, but that's just it. It's like, I don't know how this is relevant. How is it? It is relevant. My lovely mentor Annie, my first spiritual mentor Annie, used to say, we are always comparing our insides with other people's outsides.
That's brilliant,
isn't it? Wow. And that's just it. It's like when you say stuff, you shrink into, oh fuck, little Julie shouldn't have said that. Other people go, oh my God, that was magnificent, because they don't have your insecurities around it.
They can hear
it. We need to see ourselves through other people's eyes.
Well, other people's positive eyes. I don't want people going and finding negative, because if you're already triggered, consistently backing that up with negativity.
Yes, but I would argue, maybe I just live quite a sheltered life now. I just don't get that anymore. I guess because I don't put myself out there.
Well, and I also think because you're in a different space where you can receive the feedback.
I'm not very good at receiving feedback, Julie. I just don't get it.
You get it you get it from Danielle.
Or I get very hurt. I've been very hurt. I've been so angry I haven't spoken to you for at least 3 days and you haven't noticed. No, because
you've never told me that.
No, I'm joking, because we speak every week, obviously, and we chat in between. You did say something. Yeah, when it was a social media thing, it was your guides. I was furious with your guides. I wrote about that. I told you about that.
Yeah.
Furious.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, right, what's going on here? Because the same thing. I know you would never say anything out of malice. And when you get that, and that's what we talk about, that emotion, that whole body experience where you go, ah! And then I feel this is one of the things I'm doing with Eva Baronius at the moment, is about experience, like tracing, being aware of what happens. And it's like, why do you get triggered? And when I've realized, for me, quite often it's sound. Like when I'm feeling anxious, it's triggered by a sound, an unknown sound, and then and then it creeps in. But that feeling of, you actually pay attention and you feel like the flush going up your face and that pit in your stomach, and then all of that. So there's a lot of that. So when I feel that, I know that something's going on, and you're like, oh fuck, here we go again. But that's fine. But that's the other thing that Eva says, and I say this every week, and I can't remember how she says it so much better, that healing is through the things that challenge you. Yes. It's not around the things that it's like these things come up because you are now in a position to deal with them.
Yes. Yeah.
But she says it so much better. I don't think it's not her words. I think it might be an Eckhart Tolle. Anyway.
Yeah. And I will say too, this will be my last point, because we're gonna have to go here soon. That creating the awareness around those experiences and understanding what that is, and that work through that Eva Baronius is talking about, to me, that's the human experience. Not I'm going to do all this work and then I'm going to be perfect, and from then on I'm going to do all this wonderful stuff. When you get to that point, you actually most likely transition
your
next life. And so enjoying as much as the word enjoy, as much as you can enjoy this whole ride, that's the experience. That's what we're here for.
I actually managed to sort out iMusic or whatever the fuck it is on Apple now, that I could actually get stuff back onto my iPod because they've done away with iTunes, and it's out there. Anyway, so I have a lot of stuff that I listen to. It's fine with the podcasts that are new, but stuff that I used to listen to, and trying to bring them into the light, all of that. I managed to do it. So I've been listening to, catching up on a year's worth of Abraham, because I get the twice monthly podcast. Trying to catch up on that. I've lost my thread. Oh, that's all about, like, that's why contrast is here, and I'm really trying, because I've had a rocky week. I mean, I'm fine right now. I've had the real fear that, oh my God, and I've actually been sitting Googling project manager jobs that I can do from home, because I'm fucking scared, and I know it's stupid and all that, but I'm just really, really scared, and I don't know what to do. And do we sell a house? Do we not? I don't want to sell a house. Oh my God, what are you doing? You're mad, Kate. What are you thinking of? Get a fucking job. Are you crazy? Madness. I'm all right now. But if I can see it like that, these things, this is a pantomime. You're not going to die, or when you die, it's because you're ready to die. You're not going to starve to death. Do you know, even if I lost the house and my relationship and everything, there'd be a whole other journey, it doesn't matter. And then, and I bring it down to the chickens, and I don't want to do about my chickens. I don't want to leave my chickens. What if I don't have enough money to keep my chickens? And you're like, this is craziness. It's crazy. If my relationship breaks down, God forbid, but if it does, there's life after that. If my chickens die and I can't afford to keep them, and I end up living in a squat, there'll be a cat near enough. There'll always be, those animals will always be around. Nothing is really that bad. And get over yourself, Kate. It's not going to happen. It's like, you're not going to lose the house just because you shut the shed. All those fears. But if you can look at it as a pantomime, and I chose this. I want these experiences. I want to grow as a person, so that the next time you go, oh, so where's your money coming from, Kate? I go, oh, I don't know. Let's wait and see, without going, oh my God, what have I done? Mm-hmm. That's the experience, which is why I'm so pleased to say that, like, you could say to me, that's your need to educate, Kate. And I'd go, yeah, you're right. It is. And what a fabulous desire to educate it is.
What a wonderful job you do.
But it probably does depend on your mood as well, though, because if I was feeling small, I'd be like, oh my God, was I pushy? Am I a know-all? Does everybody hate me? They will talk about me behind my back. You're the only person in the room who doesn't know what's going on. That's because it's you. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good times. More to talk about probably here too. Not necessarily just with the, yeah. But we're going to end it here for today. I actually have a reading in a few minutes, so I want to get ready for that. So thank you, Kate, as always, for having this conversation. So this is Making Light Two Humans Being. I'm Julie Hiert. As always, is Kate Fago. You can join us every week. We release new episodes on Friday, at least try to, our very best, about a wide range of things, being human while also being intuitives. If you want to have us talk about something, please feel free to let us know. We would really appreciate it if you would subscribe, because that's how other people find us. You can also hit the bell and be notified when new episodes are here. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram's where we're doing live animal communication readings, so feel free to follow us on those and find those. And we're just really, really happy that you are here. Please let other people know about us, and we will see you next week. Take care.